Hello, and welcome back to the Simple Politics podcast. I'm Diane Daniels. I'm going to start. I'm going to tell you how my week's going because it's not going famously. I had a really dodgy tummy at the start of the week. Sorry for that information. Then I sent one of my kids into school with 2 packed lunches and the other kid with 0. So I know. Like complete rookie parenting mistake. And then I feel like these things happen in threes. Isn't that what they say, Tatton? Welcome, Tatton, by the way, to
Oh,
our
hi.
weekly chat.
I don't believe that things come in threes. I
What?
don't believe in fate. I don't believe things were meant to be this way. I don't believe in any of that nonsense. Katie hates it. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna get married because we didn't." Excuse me. Katie hates it. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna get married because we met on that day, not another day, because it was meant to be." It's like, no, it's just all there is chaos and probability and tears. There's no things come in threes. What does that even mean? What? God's looking down, going, "Oh, you've had 2, right? What's the third gonna be?" Nonsense.
Well, I mean, that's made me feel better. There's nothing else coming for me this week. It's going to be just
Oh,
perfect.
no, things can go really badly
Oh,
wrong again, but that's just how things work.
oh.
You're not safe. Oh, I've had 2 bad things. Now I'm safe because Tatton says it doesn't come in threes.
That's disappointing. Really disappointing. I still working out how all life works, really. I think is
Well, I mean, it doesn't. It's just a series of chaotic moments, one after the other. Some of which are okay, some of which are a bit bad.
Mm,
That's how it works.
mm.
You're welcome.
Well, chaotic moments are literally what this podcast is about. So let's cling on to that and just say that if you love that kind of thing, if you love this chat already, you can sign up to get more of
People,
it.
I think people just skip through this one,
No,
and then like they try and find where we're actually talking about stuff.
absolutely not. I don't believe it. So, but if you want to get on board with this podcast, £3 a month is kind of like our starter entry into our Patreon, which is our gang of backers. And if you look at Patreon, I'll tell you what to look in a minute. There's all sorts of different tiers you can sign up to. There's free stuff you can get, shout outs, guaranteed questions, all sorts of things. It's really, really good and worth a look. Worth a look. Have a look through. It's patreon.com/simple politics.
And it's about the community, isn't it? It's about
Mm.
chatting, and there's various people that we talk to quite a lot, like Geordie and Teg, and kind of other people who we chat to frequently on there, and it's lovely. And also, you get a little bit of insight into our world because last week. So one of the things you get on Patreon is immediately before it's released, a complete unedited video of the whole thing. I just had a coughing fit a moment ago. You won't hear that on the actual podcast. If you listen to this on the actual podcast, you've missed that. Ha! But you'll see it on the Patreon, and you'll also know that last week I clicked the wrong button and there was no video because I deleted all the video of me. So just a little peek behind the scenes. You get to see my incompetence or hear about my incompetence. You can't see it because I've been too incompetent. And you get to see and hear my coughing fit.
Mhm.
So that's worth £3 of anybody's money.
Absolutely. Yes. Take my money. Okay, bro. Well, now we've done that, let's start with the top posts of the week. This is a section where we look at all our socials and we see what posts have been performing best, which ones you've been liking, commenting on, and that gives us basically, our whole first section. So, Tatton, what's
Don't undersell it.
what?
What's that? And that gives us basically that's a whole first. Like These are the things we've been talking about. Lovely people, this is you. This is what you're interested in. Let's go. Top post of the week. Well, because what you just was like, yeah, we're just trying to fill the podcast with something. So our whole first section is, don't know, some posts. It's just you now. You know the third bad thing can't happen.
Yeah.
You're just like,
No.
oh, it does none of it matters. You've become totally nihilist about the whole thing.
Is it John Lewis who have the that slogan, never knowingly undersold? Is that John Lewis?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's like the anti John Lewis. It's I'm
Well,
underselling.
well,
I'm underselling us.
I don't think you understand what
No, I don't.
that slogan
I
means at all.
don't. I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
well, I'm not going to explain John Lewis to you now because we've got to get on to the top post of the week.
What's in at 3?
Well, and at 3, just you know what does well on our page is things that the government are doing or local councils are doing or whatever to make life easier for us. And this week, perfect, someone is going to make parking easier. Because right now there's like 3 or 4 different apps, or maybe even more, that you might have to pay for parking in a certain car park. So if you go and park in a council space, couple of councils along, suddenly it's a different app, and you've got to try and download the app with dodgy Wi-Fi, and nothing works, and it's really difficult. Now, all the authorities are going to be able to use all the apps. So if you've got like Ringo, which is the one I use the most, then you can also I can use Ringo to pay for parking on other people's apps. The government aren't bringing out their own government parking app. You'll be able to use any of the parking apps you want on any of the spaces. And what that will mean is that third parties will be able to get into it.
Yeah.
So as there won't be a deal between, Ringo or whatever, it'll mean that someone with a great app brain can make a super easy to use, lovely, friendly parking app that you'll be able to use across the country. And I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I have far too many. I think I don't know about round your way, but around my way, the one that does like seems to do stations and stuff is called Abcoa, I think. Abcoa, something like that. But I've had to get that. Ringo, there's another one. I think there's 4. I think I've got 4 currently. So that'd be nice to delete them.
There's just nothing worse than parking up and finding
Mm.
that you just don't have the ability, and the use. So you go and use your card, doesn't work. Like, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
It's
It's
great.
fundamentally good.
It's great.
You the SP reader have liked it and commented on it a lot. So thank you. I guess it's something we're excited about. It's coming up fast now. We love it. It's already with like 10 local authorities, which is like 0. Like, there's lots of local authorities, so 10 isn't very many. But it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming to a car park near you soon.
Bro. Okay, great. At number 2 this week, in a bit, in the main section, we're going to talk loads more about UK and kind of a new deal, a new reset with the European Union. So I'm not going to get into that in too much detail, but it is relevant for the second post of the week because our lovely team member and video guru Lottie spotted this detail first. She was probably before the BBC, I've got to say. She was straight on it.
If animals are in the news,
Yeah.
Lottie's seeing it. Like, she's bang on it.
Yeah. So she dropped us all a message while, Keir Starmer had done his press conference around this and said, pet passports. And so we were on it because as part of this new deal, new set of negotiations between the UK and the EU, pet passports will come back. So since Brexit, these haven't been a thing. You've needed health certificates and to apply for them through a vet at either end. And it's all been very expensive and complicated.
At either end.
I
So when
believe
you get
so.
to France, another vet's had to see it.
To come back, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, yeah. Not on
not
arrival.
on arrival, yeah. But
Mhm.
it's all very complicated and, we've got lots of pet and animal lovers on the page and people who travel with pets, which I guess always surprises me because we've got cats that we just get a neighbour to come in.
No, Diane, this is it. I understand a
Yeah,
dog,
yeah,
right? But with cats,
yeah.
like you can't go like to any hotel rooms allow you to have cats. This is a ludicrous idea.
Yeah.
I think traveling with cats, they should clamp down harder on traveling with cats because it's a silly idea.
But lots of people are really, really happy about this. We knew, like, of all the things we could talk about in the deal, this was the one that you'd probably get most excited about.
Because what did I just say about parking?
Mm,
It's when our lives get better. Like, I'm joking about cats, of course. If we want to take our pets, if we have a second home, for example, or Nan's home where we go and spend the time, or whatever it is,
mm.
we want to take our animals with us. And now we can, and that's easier. And like, you can shove a cat through the Eurotunnel. I live near the Eurotunnel. I can be in France in however long, and in a little cat basket. It's not. It's easy. Whatever. These are two stories about our governments making life easier to spend time with animals and to park cars. And that's like these both of these posts have done well. A lot of weeks, either of these posts would have been our number one
Mm,
post of the week by the number of engagements that we've had. But they're both really popular because this is what all governments want to do, which is make our lives better.
mm,
And you can be cynical and say that's because they want us to vote for them next time, or you can look at it as just their desires and their hopes and their dreams. Like whatever they want to do, make this happen. And no, they're not big things.
mm,
No, not that many people want to take their dogs abroad. Not that many people are that fussed about parking. But just incrementally, in these small ways, making life better and life easier.
mm. Nice. Excellent. Okay. What was that number one?
Oh, well, number one's a totally different story. It's where the government or the council haven't been making life better or easier. And someone said, well, you should be.
Mm,
This someone is called Zoe Bread. I don't know if that's a nom de plume, if that's a stage name, or if it's actually her, but it doesn't matter, right? The council, I'm not going to get the whole story. The council were difficult about parking, like really difficult, like unreasonable. And she went, this won't do. I am going to fight this. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to get stuck into this. And she was a right pain for them. And she was, and this is the important thing. She was relentless on this. She was unstoppable on this. She did everything she could, and she won.
mm,
And not only that, she won for other people. Other people are having their parking tickets refunded or whatever it is because of what she's done.
mm,
Campaigning isn't just about signing a petition and feeling pleased with yourself. It's about getting out there, being difficult,
mm. Because
and that
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, I was gonna say because especially councils are really bureaucratic. They're known for it. Just the forms, the who to get hold of, who to make stuff happen. And so I really like this story because to get a win like this does show, like you say, that persistence, that kind of and I think anything is really hard won. You've talked about in your books, Tat, and people who have made change happen.
Mm.
And it is hard going. It is hard going.
Hard going.
Mm.
But look at. I mean, as we record, and we didn't quite post on it because I'm not sure on it. But this the government changing their mind on winter fuel allowance,
Mhm.
right? We don't know what that means yet. That's partly why we haven't posted. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if a few more thousand people are going to get it, or
Yeah.
if loads of people, or whatever. We don't know anything like that. But it's a change in approach. It is the government listening to people. They have been forced to listen to people, but campaigning, putting pressure on people, works. And that's partly what being in a democracy is. If people putting pressure on it, it's not just about voting every now and again. It's about making yourself heard, and then the people, like the government, won't listen every time. You know, a million people marched through London to protest against the Iraq War, right? History fans will know it happened against the wishes of those million people and all the people who agreed with them, but also had to go to the football or shopping or whatever anyone else does on a Saturday afternoon. The government does not always listen to or bow to pressure. The student marches
Mm.
before the tuition votes, they were huge.
Huge.
But the government does not always listen,
Hmm.
but sometimes it does.
Mm.
And campaigning can work and change can happen. And I wonder if we can get Zoe Bread on SP somehow.
Yeah, she has commented on the story, which is lovely.
Oh, well, we're going to we need to DM her then,
Yeah.
and we'll do a video interview. Perfect. You heard it here first, folks. You haven't heard it here first because she's not said yes or seen the message or been interested. So you've heard the idea here first. Lovely people.
Perfect. Awesome. Brill. Right. Section 2. Let's move on to the meal bag. Woo! I'm being all lively and fun now.
No, you just ruined it. You don't tell people, oh, I really hate this section. I'm just pretending. I did a woo, but I didn't mean it. Ha ha, fooled you. Oh no, now I've told you. Ah.
I love this section. Genuinely. Genuinely. Um, this is where you've DM'd us, you've got in touch through any of the social pages, or occasionally an email. We can also do email. But question one that was from Sophie through Instagram, and she asks, how have the Labour Party shifted their ideology? And she actually talks about old Labour and new Labour. Now, New Labour obviously was probably what we called it a few years ago, but what do you think?
Yes, it's like a town that's got a bridge, new bridge, and it's the oldest bridge there, but it was once a new bridge.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, absolutely.
like old Labour were socialist, Neil Kinnock banging his fist on his chest, like being really cross with Thatcher like a lot of crossness with Thatcher. And then New Labour were embracing, well, they were centrist,
Sen-
but they're embracing the private sector to help the public sector. And so we had all kinds of things. And that's where, people talk about selling off the NHS or privatizing the NHS. That was happening slightly under John Major, but Tony Blair was bringing in private sector because he believed that competition makes things better. And that's a fundamental free market belief. So if there's only one company, there's no point in them innovating or being efficient or whatever. But if there's two companies competing against each other, you've got to compete on quality or price. So you've got both companies trying to be better than the other one, and that makes things better. And that was Tony Blair. That's the free market. I could literally go on for quite a long time about the free market, again, New Labour, Old Labour, but I won't do that, you lucky people. Where are we now?
Mm.
Quite
Starmer's Labour. How's that different?
Starmer's Labour.
Mm.
He's not. He loves the free market, doesn't he?
Mm.
Like he's not. He's certainly not old Labour. That maybe when he first ran to be leader,
Mm.
he was talking quite old Labour. He is nationalising the trains.
Mm.
But then the Conservatives who also do that. We're also kind of fans of that. So it is possible to say we live in a post-ideological world, where all politicians of all parties and all flavours are picking up policies from across the political landscape. And if you hear them talk, they talk about, oh, we're going to have the best policies. We're working on having the best policies, which is a particularly unideological thing to say. If you believe in an ideology, then you don't pick the best policies. You pick these ideological policies that will lead us to a greater future. Not, oh, we've got to have a good policy offer to attract the people. That's like a festival just trying to pick up the biggest bands they can for their money, rather than the festival going, no, I want this dance band, because you're a dance festival. We're going to have these DJs and this band. Like, it's what we're seeing a lot actually with festivals these days. They're a lot less ideological. They're much more, who can I get? Razor Light seem to be doing everything because they're relatively affordable and people have heard of them, even though they're clearly terrible. This Starmer's Labour Party is like a bad music festival. It's got a vague, we're a festival vibe about it. We're Labour vaguely. We do these things, but the way they talk about migrants, the way they talk about not believing in universalism, the way they talk about lots of things just aren't very Labour.
Yeah.
They're not old Labour, they're not new Labour. They're Starmer's Labour, who still believes in nationalisation of some things, who still believes in restrictions on the free market, who still believes in NHS for everyone, who still believes in state education, excellence of state education, although people might disagree with how they're getting there with it. That's Labour. And those values will always be Labour. But there are also ways in which they've clearly wandered off from that.
Yeah. Okay, great. Question 2. I feel I'm going to have to really keep you to a minute on this, because this is another question that I just know you're going to love. You're going to love responding. And it's about Parliament. And Lester asks, starts off by saying...
Sorry, can I just clarify? Is that the whole city of Leicester?
I'm not
someone
sure.
called Leicester?
I'm unsure.
Have they had a poll in Leicester? Someone gone round asking what question we should ask?
I think so. I think
so too.
Let's treat it that way.
Sorry, Leicester. I don't mean to be mean about your name. It's a lovely
cool name. They start off by saying no Parliament is perfect, which I think we all agree with. Absolutely. But what is the one thing you admire about ours?
Oh. How many minutes have I got?
1. 60 seconds.
No, Diane, you go first.
Oh, this is so tricky. Oh my goodness. Do you know what? I'm going to say, my microphone nearly took a little dive there. Sorry for anyone on the video. I'm going to say the committees. I'm going to say committees, if that's allowed.
Oh,
Strong. Because like the unsung hero of Parliament, there are some absolutely banging committees that happen every day that are interviewing like industry experts, that are researching issues and topics to try and shape policy. And they're cross-party. These are cross-party things that are happening where like real constructive work is happening between parties, and we don't really see or hear enough of it. But they do good stuff.
Can I just ask if public bill committees or select committees are your favourite flavour of committee?
Select committees.
I know.
Yeah.
You're just going for the big sexy ones, aren't you?
Yes,
I
indeed.
mean, it's easy to do,
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? Favorite thing about Parliament?
Constant progress. The
Ooh.
constant thud of progress, and you see it in its rules about maternity leave and paternity
Mhm.
leave and parental leave. You see it in its there was a fella with MS, I think it was, who struggled to put a tie on
Mhm.
every day, and so they just went,
Yeah.
oh, we don't have to, MPs no longer have to wear ties in the House of Commons, and that's wonderful. We've got a guide dog now,
Yes.
sits on the Liberal Democrat benches. Stella Creasy brought her baby into the chamber. Tony Blair made all these changes to make it easier and better. The House of Commons, in so many ways, and the House of Lords. The House of Lords was doing it way before. There was a member of the House of Lords, a very high-powered member of the House of Lords, who was in a wheelchair, and the Lords completely ripped out half of the House of Lords chamber. Like, the House of Lords chamber is a proper historic thing, but they went, no, this fella has to be able to represent his speciality here in the House of Lords. So they just got it sorted, and they do it quietly and they do it subtly. And I think that really shapes some of the debate. I think that when that's how you behave towards people, that's mirrored by the way you see it. And then you hear people talking about, listen, I'm a man who has mental health issues and has had some serious times, and I hear people talking about suicide and men in a way that they just didn't when I started doing this job 10 years ago.
Mhm.
It wasn't taken as seriously. It wasn't considered in the same way. International Women's Day debates have become so much more serious. They're not just lip service anymore. People who struggle, and I know there'll be people listening go, oh yeah, what about this, what about that, and it is not perfect. Leicester started this with no parliament is perfect, but there is, in the way that the parliament constructs can conduct, in the way that parliament conducts itself, in the tone people use, there is this constant thud of progress. And
Nice.
listen, like, I do have to say, we are over trans rights. We've had a lot of emails and things back and forth, and I know that this constant thought of progress to which I'm referring hasn't yet led to the T part of LGBT. People still use that phrase LGBT a lot in Parliament, and they don't mean the T bit. It's just a phrase. It's just a byword for whoever, for people who fancy other people, but not. I don't know what it is, but progress. I hope it will get there.
Mm.
I hope because progress doesn't mean we're there yet. I'm making progress towards being a well-dressed young man. In fact, I'm not. I'm making progress away from being a young man, but well-dressed. I'm not there yet. Look at this t-shirt. It's awful, right? Progress does not mean completion, but I think there is progress in Parliament, and that's what I admire most about it.
Very good. Very good. That was a long answer, but
What?
I
That was so
that
short.
was
I edited. I
wow.
self-edited.
Wow. Wow. But I think we do have to move on. We had some other great questions that we will carry over to next week because we keep them all. We don't just we're not loose and free with your questions. We keep them. We've got a question bank that Emma looks
Do we
after. We
really?
really do. We really do. Yeah. So we'll roll them over and we'll get some of those answered next week. Keep them coming.
What interest we're getting on the on our savings?
In our question bank,
Hmm.
I would say really high, really high,
High interest.
high
We like high
interest.
interest. High interest questions are good.
Yeah, good. But we're going to move on and we're going to look at UK EU watch because this has been the big thing in politics this week, really, that Keir Starmer has managed to do some renegotiation with the EU that has been a long time coming. And, you know, it's really been such an interesting one to watch people's responses to, because even in our comments, we didn't do like a load on this, but we've obviously talked about it a little bit through nightly news and through the pet passports.
Hmm.
And people in the comments, some people had actually asked, "Oh, are we, are we back in the EU? Is Brexit undone?" People had genuinely asked that. So I think it's definitely one we should talk about and talk about what this deal and what this negotiation actually means. What else we're waiting on the detail of. S-
There's so much like
Mm,
with this. There's no detail in this at all. It's all varied. We're going to keep talking.
mm.
I would just put in a little advert here because Lottie and I recorded like a 10-minute video on this on the question of have is Brexit dead or like because that's what people have some people have been saying. So yeah, I had quite a long think about this and a long look at this. Um, so if this is interest, if this stuff's of interest, do go and check that out.
Where can they see that, Tatton?
Oh, it's a cinema.
Right.
Cinema near
Yeah.
you in theaters only.
Yeah. Yes.
No, no, not there. Um, YouTube. YouTube is where the
Fab.
long version is. There's a clip on TikTok, but the proper long form, which is yeah, and the Sundance Film Festival. Um, I would have thought Cannes a nice film festival. It's
Yeah.
nice and warm down there, south of France.
Yeah. And I think a Palm d'Or would look very lovely just under the SP. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There you go.
I mean, yeah. Um, so yeah, we're waiting on details of almost everything. Like even the pet thing isn't. They haven't got all the details yet on. They've agreed headlines
Mhm.
and they've come out and said these are happening.
Mhm.
You know, like e-gates. They're like, oh, we're going to do e-gates, but they're not going to do e-gates. They're going to say that we can do e-gates, right? So e-gates are when you go to the airport. There's like you can either go and see the grumpy man who just hates their life almost always. Actually, they're not so bad in the UK. When you come back home to the UK, they're often all right. But and when you go to a foreign country and you have the temerity to give them your passport and they get all cross with you. Oh, what is this? Oh, like your job's to check passports. Anyway, you can go and do that, fella, or you can go and see a gate and you put your passport down and
Mm.
it looks at it and it thinks about it and it goes, oh, go on, and opens doors for you. And previously it's been really tricky for UK users to use the e-gates. And now what this deal does is say that it's definitely fine for the UK to use e-gates. It doesn't say you have to allow the UK because the problem before is with stamps.
Mhm.
You've got to have your passport stamped as you go out and when you come in.
Yeah.
And the e-gates don't stamp them. So there was that complication.
Mm.
But now it's all going to be sorted.
I I
If
I
if
want
it
a
was.
stamp. I would rather queue and have a stamp.
You would rather queue for an hour.
But yeah, I'd like a stamp. I just love a stamp or a sticker.
How long are you queuing for?
Mm, 40 minutes.
You're queuing for 40 minutes and then having to stand in front of Grumpy Man
Yes.
just for a stamp.
Yes, please.
When do you look? When do you look at the stamps on your passport?
I don't know, but, it's like a little collection, isn't it?
Magaluf, Ibiza, Ayia Napa, like
Yeah. Gran Canaria for the win.
Gran Canaria. That's where you got your hair braided.
Yeah. 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 So, oh, that's exciting. I think we would have posted if there was more detail on the youth mobility scheme. Like, we know people are interested that on the SP page, but there just isn't any
Mm.
detail yet. But it's going to come, right?
And when it does, it's going to be a post that's saying life is better for you because of what the government's done. I mean, people are worried that we're going to get loads of people coming into our country,
Mhm.
and freedom of movement was a
Was
thing, and people didn't like it.
Yeah.
And this sounds a bit like freedom of movement, so they haven't called it a movement, have they?
No.
To stop it sounding like freedom of movement, Diane, what have they called it?
They've called it the Youth Experience Scheme, is the latest version I've heard. Yeah.
It's not freedom of movement,
No.
it's freedom of experience schemes.
Yeah. But I
Um,
did hear
I
Politics Live, they were talking about that it potentially might be capped, which would be kind of to soften the blow to those who are worried about migration levels, that it could, there could be a cap on it.
Yes, capped and timely.
Yeah.
So you'd only be allowed to be here for I think a year, 6 months to a year, but mostly a year is what they're saying,
Mm,
and it will be capped. Presumably, be the same cap for UK people leaving as for European people coming in.
mm,
And I think with the cost of being in the UK, I mean, you can work while you're here, but it doesn't. It won't. I think we'd see many more people from Western Europe
mm,
take it up. People from Spain and France and Germany and Italy and Portugal coming for a year, like a gap year, like that kind of experience, rather than lots of people coming from Eastern Europe simply in order to work and earn higher wages and send them back. I, especially because of the youth thing, you'll have to be.
probably under
Uh,
30, probably. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
I mean, you no, but like you could still, I suppose, 28-year-old from Poland, like or any of the other Eastern European countries from which we had a lot of people coming here to work as labourers in the trades. You could do that, but it's less likely. If it's only for a year to uproot it and all of that, I think we'll see a lot more of a gap year type thing from the wealthier European nations. And we'll obviously send our people, young people off to have their gap years, and enjoying the youth experience scheme. I think it's nice. I don't think it's a big deal.
Mm,
I don't think the cap's going to be massive. It'll be a few thousand, 10,000. I mean, I have no idea what it'll be. I don't think most people will ever meet somebody on one of these deals, especially if you don't live in the southeast. Right? Or Sky. I'm sure loads of them are going to go to Sky. When I went to Sky, I met loads of people like that. Yeah, like it's a headline grabber because people say it's surrendering. Like the language the papers use. Did you see that,
I
Diane?
did, I did, I did, and I also watched Lee Anderson on Politics Live this week talking about this youth experience scheme, and it's really interesting because he said, and I quote this direct quote, he said, "How many people from Mansfield or Sutton and Ashfield go to Europe to have an experience?" And that's the whole point. The point is, it's going to open up the possibility of doing that.
Well, I mean, it is, but it's still. But I think there's a real issue that he's quite rightly pointing out. I found myself agreeing with Lee Anderson a couple of times recently. I think that the aspiration in working class northern towns to spend a year messing about in Parisian cafes isn't there as much as in some of the wealthier areas where there is more sense of this of cosmopolitanism or internationalism or whatever it is. Like Lee Anderson was a miner. He was an actual miner. I just don't think in the pit communities they were talking about, the joys of wherever, Faro. Pharaoh? I never said it close.
But now it's an option, right?
Yes, yes, but it's about leveling up. So it is
Mhm,
an option, but who's going to take up that option? Out of that, let's say 10,000 people. I've got no idea what the figure's going to be.
mhm.
What percentage are going to be from private school? It'll be more than 7%, right? It will be more than the 7% of people who go to private school will make that up.
I'm gonna do a
So
post on this when it happens. I'm gonna
yeah, no,
I'm
I want
gonna
to see
look
it. I
yeah.
want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to see what we're going to talk. What we're going to have. Leveling up is so hard to do.
Mhm.
Creating this opportunity is a wonderful thing, but ensuring that it is evenly spread out amongst the country
Mm.
is quite another thing. And raising, maybe raise aspirations is not the right term, because maybe it's, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to go
Yeah.
and eat foreign food, particularly, like, because that's what people feel, and that's okay. But the inequalities, even though there's the same opportunity for everyone, it's not an equal opportunity. Like, does that make sense?
Yes. I do know what you're getting at. I do. But I'm glad that the option is there because there will be people in those towns who will want to do this. There will be.
And I think the working thing's really important,
Yeah.
because all you got to do is, if you can find a bar in Spain who will employ you,
Yeah.
and you can find that on the internet or whatever, like, then all you got to do is pay for a coach
Yeah.
to that town in Spain, Cadiz.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can work there. So it's not an expensive, it doesn't have to be an expensive thing to do. You don't have to be interrailing and staying in hostels in Venice
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, it can just be,
Mm. A working
and then you get the wonderful
yeah.
experience
Yeah.
of being in Cadiz for a year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Well, the EU UK deal is definitely one to watch when we have more detail. If it's interesting detail, we will update you. But let's move on to the final section, crystal ball. I mean, Parliament's on recess next week because it's half term across England and Wales, I believe, not Scotland and Northern Ireland because they finish quite soon anyway.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
nearly their summer holidays. Yeah,
yeah, which is.
lazy.
But what else is around next week, Tatton?
Well, from the 1st of June, disposable vapes are illegal.
Wow.
Well, no, to sell them is illegal. If you've got one at home, SWAT teams are not going to descend through your windows.
Yeah. Wow, that's come
um,
round quickly, actually, from when that was in Parliament.
it's come around quickly. And
Mm.
Diane, I'd like to congratulate you on how surprised you sound when I say that,
Yes.
because you wrote this.
Mhm.
You wrote this down for me, and it says
Yes.
Tatton it's curtains for I'm not going to say curtains. It's curtains for disposable vapes. So Diane's written this whole section, right? And then she's pretended to be really surprised when I've read it out back to her.
I know.
That is skills.
I
I
know.
mean, I've been criticizing Diane's skills this podcast, but that was excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent
Thank
work.
you.
Sometimes, quite often, I don't use the thing that Diane's written for me for the crystal ball section, because I've got something else I'd like to talk about. And then she's genuinely surprised. She's like, "Oh, that's not what I was expecting you to say." But here is exactly word for word what she was expecting, and she still gave surprised vibes. So
I did.
congratulations, Diane.
Thank you
That's
so
that's
much.
very special.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm untrained, would you believe? I'm that
Not Rada. I was thinking
I know.
Rada.
I know. No, just
Yeah,
self-taught. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, all the I bet it's going to be wall to wall vape headlines in the lead up, isn't it, to next week, next weekend?
Up and smoke.
Oh, got it.
Um, Smokeless in Seattle.
Okay, if that's there, I'll give you a tenner. Um, But yes, so but next week, join us and we shall have, even though Parliament's not on, we will be on. We will be talking about all the news that's happened. So like, share.
Smokeless, and the Bandit.
Oh dear Lord. Like, share, comment, and we will be discussing your best posts next week. Thank you
Mm,
so much for listening. We've got
mm.
to go quickly before another smoke headline.
And to smokelessness.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks, everyone. You can just check out my page later for a load more smoky headlines.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.